Today's lesson is on the metric system. The metric system of measurement. Oh, strike one. Oh, it's already there. Strike one. So the metric system of measurement is a way of measuring capacity or volume, length, or weight or mass. And it uses a system that is called a base 10 system. So something might be 10 times bigger, or 100 times bigger, 1,000 times bigger. And that way it's easy to convert between the different labels, or the different ways of measuring. So for example, these are the units of measure. A meter is about the length of a yard. It's about this long. So if you're measuring something that is a shorter distance, you would use meters. A shorter distance meaning like the length of your yard outside, okay? Or the length of the playground, or the length of a parking lot, something like that. Then you would use meters. If you were measuring the capacity of something, you would use liters, like the amount of water in a fish tank. You use liters. 1 liter is about 2 bottles of water. Okay? This water, this is, I see it on here. It's about a liter, maybe a little less than a liter. Okay? A gram. Gram is a very light, 1 gram is about the weight of 1 paper clip. So, like this thing is about 1 gram, okay? 1 gram. It's a, so you would measure things like your notebook. You could measure that in grams, okay? Most heavier things are measured in kilograms. Like if you were to measure the weight of your book, you would want to measure that in kilograms, probably. You might measure it in grams also. 1 kilogram is about 2.2 pounds. Okay? 2.2 pounds. So think of like 1 pound, if you're buying something at a grocery store, like fruits and vegetables are you pay per pound. So like 1 Honeycrisp apple is about 1 pound. Or maybe, well, about a half a pound. Okay. So that's something you might measure in pounds is a bag of apples or a bag of potatoes. And you could also measure that in kilograms. Okay? Strike 2. So, when you are converting in the metric system, it's very easy to convert because you're just multiplying by powers of 10. Power, like multiplying by 10 or dividing by 10. Multiplying by 100 or dividing by 100. So, I want, you hopefully have this written in your notes already. I'm going to show you how to use this to easily convert. So let's say that you're starting with meters, and you need to convert this to centimeters. Well, centimeters are 100 times smaller than a meter. So in other words, there are 100 centimeters in a meter. If we are going from the units to the centis, well, let me put this up here. Then you multiply it by 100. In other words, like there's 100 cents in the dollar. So if you have $1 and you were to tell how many cents that is, you multiply by 100. 1 times 100. Same with 1 meter. 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So you'd multiply by 100 to convert the label to centimeters. Okay? If you have centimeters and you need to know what it is in millimeters, you multiply it by 10. So write times 10. Draw a little arrow and write times 10. And now write that down, okay? Now, if you need to go from meters to millimeters, then you could just go times 100 and then times 10, or you could multiply it one time times 1,000. Okay? Now, if you're going the opposite direction, if you're going from millimeters to centimeters, then you would divide it by the same number. So divide it by 10, or divide it by 100. And then finally, if you're going from the units to a number that's bigger, so if you have meters and you need to go to, if you need to go to kilometers, then again you divide it by 1,000. There's 1,000 meters in a kilometer. Or there's 1,000 liters in 1 kiloliter. 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. If you have kilograms and you need to go to units, then you multiply it by 1,000. So 2 kilometers is 2,000 meters. 2,000 is 2 kilometers would be 2,000 meters. Okay? Or 1 kiloliter would be 1,000 liters. So you follow the arrows. Okay? Questions? Read it.
2 questions. Kilos, if you go over to meals, would it be times by 2,000?
No. Nope, because then you would, 1,000 times 1,000 is not 2,000. So then you'd start with, and convert it to units, multiply it by 1,000, and then you could multiply it by 1,000 again to convert it to milliliters.
What?
1,000 and then 1,000. Not 2,000, but 1,000,000. So 1,000,000.
Oh!
Okay?
Well, wait. You're saying 1,000?
Yep. Okay, Andreas.
1,000?
Stop talking now. Let Andreas' turn.
It's kind of like topic, but I'm really confused. How many kilometers does it equal a mile? Like I don't know how much.
Yeah.
How much is it?
How much is it? A kilometer is 0.62. So it's about 62% of a mile. It's a little over half of a mile is a kilometer. Okay? For those that run like a 5K, that would be 3.1 miles. 5,000 meters is a 5K. And that's 3.1 miles. Sorry, Vinny.
I love yawning.
Yeah.
So kilos to millis, would that be like 3?
Nope. Convert it twice. Convert it to units, and then convert it to milliliters or millimeters.
So it is 2,000.
So it's not 2,000, it's 1,000. So times it by 1,000.
It's 1 million.
So let's say you start with 2 kilometers. You times it by 1,000, that's 2,000 meters. Now now take 2,000 and times that by 1,000. 2 million.
Okay.
Okay, Matt.
Could you go to all the way down there in the corner, kilograms, all the way to million? All the
Yes.
way up?
So then you would take kilograms. Let's say you have 5 kilograms.
You got
5 kilograms. Convert it to grams by multiplying by 1,000. 5 times 1,000 is 5,000.
Wow.
Well, could you just go to kilograms to like millions up there just by itself?
Well, yeah, if you just
Without connecting.
yeah, it is multiplying it by 1,000,000.
Okay.
So 5 kilograms would be 5 million milligrams. 1,000 times 1,000 times 1,000.
So the next one, the kg would be 500,000.
Those are centigrams. And centigrams, I put those in parentheses because centigrams and centiliters are not used very often, but they have the same label, so you could convert them. They're real. It's just that they're not used very often. Okay? Raiden.
I said I had 2 questions earlier, so that's why I have it. And can't you just also like use the decimal point?
Yes, that's what we're going to talk about next. So when you're multiplying and dividing, what you're really doing is just moving the decimal point where you need to move it. So let's say that you're starting with 6.9 liters, and you need to convert that to milliliters. 6.9 liters to milliliters is times 1,000. And whenever you multiply by a number times 1,000, you can move the decimal place 3 places to the right. You move the decimal place 3 places to the right to convert a number, or to multiply a number by 1,000. Like 5 times 1,000 is 5 times 1,000 is just 5,000, right? Stop talking, listen. 6.9 times 1,000 is 6,900. By moving the decimal place to the right, you multiply it by 1,000. Moving the decimal place to the left divides it by 1,000. In other words, 5,000 divided by 1,000 is just 5. Okay? So when you're doing your worksheet and your homework, you can just move the decimal point where you need to move it. Okay?
Please show me how to say that.
I want you to do 1 through 18 tomorrow on this side. 1 through 18, okay? Do the reteaching side, 1 through 18.
So the